For many inline skaters, the X Games serves as a target of resentment and scorn due to the perceived mistreatment and industry bias that the X Games has demonstrated towards rollerblading over the last 2 decades. But is the X Games truly responsible for blacklisting our industry and condemning it to a visibility death sentence? Or is it just another scapegoat, redirecting attention from the internal issues within our sport? I'm Butch Lehman of Roll, Minnesota, and I invite you to join me as we seek to uncover the truth about the X Games. Originally conceived in 1993, the inaugural X Games was a buffet of action sports competitions, modeled after the Olympics. Amongst the sports to be included in the first X Games were the usual suspects: skateboarding, BMX, and 3 inline events: vert, street, and downhill, and a variety of other less commonly known sports including street luge, skydiving, water sports, and even bungee jumping in Elvis costumes. I bet you didn't know that. According to an article authored by Steve Cave, the initial concept from ESPN executives was to hold the Extreme Games every other year. However, thanks to an overwhelming interest from the public and corporate sponsors, the X Games quickly restructured as a yearly event. In fact, the first X Games, which took place in Rhode Island over the course of 1 week, from June 24th to July 1st, recorded over 198,000 in-person spectators and immediately landed major sponsors such as Advil, Mountain Dew, Taco Bell, Chevy Trucks, AT&T, Nike, and even Miller Lite, a beer manufacturer, were all locked up as potential partner investors. In 1996, the Extreme Games became the X Games, and already new competitions were being added, removed, or replaced. For example, 1996 saw the removal of windsurfing and mountain biking, with the addition of wakeboarding to the competition circuit. This is also when the X Games announced the first Winter X Games, which would feature snowboarding, ice climbing, snow mountain bike racing, and even a downhill shovel racing event. Obviously, there was a lot of excitement, energy, and unpredictability about the future of the X Games. Over the subsequent years, the X Games would continue making modifications to its competition itinerary, including a series of televised qualifying events across the globe. The X Games even relocated from its original home in Rhode Island, eventually landing in San Francisco, where attendance record climbed to a new record of over 275,000 spectators in 1999. For the X Games, this would prove to be a pivotal year, as its largest crowd to date would bear witness to the festival's most iconic moment, the Tony Hawk 900.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, look at this! Tony Hawk, everybody!
The sudden surge of skateboarding popularity as a result of this event, coupled with the X Games' introduction of moto-x, its high-flying and most dangerous sport, resulted in widely popular television ratings and would inspire some drastic changes moving forward. Movies, television shows, video games, and every facet of mainstream culture was ready to cash in on the action sports mania, fueled in large part by the success of the early X Games. For many of us in the rollerblading industry, we look back at these early years as the glory days of inline skating, with multiple outlets for mainstream exposure, including the ASA Tour, the Gravity Games, and most notably the X Games. However, inline skating's partnership with the X Games was soon to come to an abrupt end, sending shockwaves throughout the entire inline skating industry. With the X Games at the forefront of cultural consciousness, and the financial opportunities rolling in, it didn't take long for the X Games to overextend itself and exhaust casual fans with an overabundance of events. effectively watering down what was originally intended to be a single event. In 2000, the X Games helped fund and market the Tony Hawk Gigantic Skatepark Tour, and in 2001, it added an action sports and music awards event. However, it was the X Games Global Championship of 2003 that would force the X Games to reevaluate its entire business model. Its most ambitious offering to date, X Games Global was envisioned as a series of team events in which competitors from 6 different geographical regions would accumulate points for their team in their respective sports. While this new format provided an interesting twist on action sports competition, many critics point to the addition of these and other new events as an oversaturation of the market. As a result, attendance dipped to just 69,000 for the Global Championship and just 187,141 for the traditional X Games event. That's a decrease of almost 100,000 spectators from just a few years earlier. Despite hosting the events in the heavily populated Los Angeles, these attendance marks would dip even further to just over 170,000 in 2004. With pressure from corporate sponsors and exponentially rising costs, ESPN executives and X Games coordinators started taking drastic action to rebrand the event, beginning with a consolidation of its event offerings. In 2004, rollerblading joined a long list of sports to be dropped from the X Games, including street luge, skydiving, wakeboarding, and bungee jumping, just to name a few. With attendance dropping below 140,000 in 2005 and 2006, the X Games doubled down on this approach, deciding to focus on its most popular and marketable sports, skateboarding, BMX, and moto-x, filling the event schedule with multiple competitions in each of these disciplines. The end result was an X Games that no longer represented the diversity of the Olympics, but rather a cost-effective consolidation of its base. Now, many rollerbladers like Arlo Eisenberg have been quick to criticize ESPN and the X Games for unfairly targeting inline skating.
And basically, he's apologizing for the fact that there's going to be an inliner on the course. They all had a big laugh about it. I didn't think it was funny. What hurt me most was their response to me only confirmed what I knew all along, that they don't care about rollerblading.
However, the truth is that rollerblading was declining in the ratings and presented a greater financial liability to continue than its other core sports. Fewer sports meant fewer athletes, travel expenses, courses, venue spaces, and competition for sponsors. Like countless other sports, including Travis Pastrana's very own passion project of rally car racing, inline skating found itself cast aside from the event it helped build. Now, personally, I can't deny the disappointment I felt when I learned inline skating would not be represented in the 2005 X Games. Nor can I deny the domino effect it had on the industry over the subsequent years. But I don't blame the X Games. After all, the X Games is a business, and all businesses are forced to make difficult decisions in times of hardship. That's just the unfortunate reality and nature of the situation. As the saying goes, it's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all, and I can't help but look back at the early years and be thankful for all the memories. Chris Edwards introducing inline to the world, Aaron Feinberg winning gold on his 16th birthday, or the Yasutoko brothers' dominance in vert, challenging the entire world to skate better.
Skate better.
Skate better. Skate better.
In fact, the last 3 years, the X Games have been hosted here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and every year it's been an awesome experience. Over the years, I got to meet some of my favorite action sports riders like Scotty Kramer, Ryan Williams, and Jamie Bestwick, who challenged my nephew to arm wrestling competition.
Oh! You're taking down the champ right now!
On the line, you got something on the edge right now.
I watched Colton Walker, a friend and fellow member of the factory, claim his first X Games gold in BMX dirt. I attended X Fest with friends and family and walked away with some sweet prizes. Last year, we even had our own EX Games or X Games skate competition outside the stadium, which was ridiculously fun. Most importantly, I was able to celebrate the action sports accomplishments of my peers because it really doesn't matter what you ride. When you're performing on that level, it's amazing and it's worthy of recognition, regardless of what you do. This year, X Games was canceled, and with their contract expiring here in Minneapolis, it remains to be seen what impact this will have on the event, both financially and organizationally. With X Games already struggling to retain its current audience and appeal to new demographics, I'm hopeful that the X Games will reevaluate its approach and broaden its reach, adding new sports like scootering and reintroducing legacy sports like inline skating. I've even heard some talk, some rumors, speculation about the X Games exploring esports and video games, but who knows what they'll do. One thing does seem certain, however: inline skating will survive with or without the X Games. But for my own part, I would love to see rollerblading make its return to the big stage, with opportunities for our pros to market themselves and make the type of living that they deserve to make. But even if that never happens, I still believe that our best interest as a sport is in our collective interest as an action sports community. On that note, let me close by saying thank you to the X Games for the great memories and experiences, and best wishes with your future endeavors. Let me know what you guys think about the X Games and its role in inline skating history in the comments below. Is the X Games our enemy, or would you support a return to the action sports competition if the opportunity ever presented itself? I'm Butch Lehman of Roll, Minnesota, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and get out there and do some rollerblading. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.